Welcome to our Ring Talk 2021 wrap-up session, end of the year. It's been a strange year of boxing, but particularly small hall boxing and trying to move boxers forward in awkward times for yourself and everyone at Goodwin Boxing. But yeah, with me, Martin Theobald, we've got Steve. How you doing, Steve?
I'm good, my friend. I'm a lot better than you are, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, COVID has caught up with me, but I can't be kind of annoyed about it, really. I wasn't going out of my way to avoid seeing people. I was still playing football and down the pub and what have you. So look, that's life, isn't it?
Exactly.
Couldn't be too fearful of it. I've still got relative youth on my side and the ability to fight these things. So there you go. How's your festive period?
That's been nice. Really nice time. A nice time with the family. Nice time to relax. And I love times like this because I do nothing for quite a few days, so I can think and just about everything and just refocus on what I want to do for the next year. And I do it every year, and it really reinvigorates me and gives me different ideas. And so it's really good. So I'm really looking forward to 2022 in a multitude of reasons and different things. So it's brilliant.
Time to strategize and
exactly.
And then you're off on holiday soon, aren't you, as well? So more time.
Provided Boris lets us go, and I think he's doing the right thing at the moment. I think with what he's doing, he's not doing what the other nations are doing, just trying to make out they're ahead of the game. The statistics are saying that what he's doing is the right thing, in my opinion. So, we shouldn't look. It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated now, as we know. It's and I'm vaccinated, so I don't want my life put on hold for those that are not. So I don't want the restrictions brought in, and I hope that we can carry on with very limited effects on our lives.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as somebody's currently suffering with it, my wife's just come out of having it. I don't feel too bad. I feel like I've had a heavy cold. Would I have been the same were I unvaccinated? You can't tell. But if this is as bad as it gets with a vaccine, cool. I'm okay.
That's why I look at it. I mean, I was just telling you before. I mean, you are 68 times more likely to be in ICU if you are unvaccinated. So therefore, the way I look at it, anybody unvaccinated could be in there 68 times more likely than me. That's a good risk to take. I'll get on and live my life now. And if the unvaccinated, unfortunately, that's life. That's life.
Vaccines aside, let's move on from that malarkey. What's been the best part of 2021 for you as Goodwin Boxing head of?
I think we've seen a lot of our fighters evolve at the end of it's been a difficult end. Liam Dillon winning the English title was fantastic because he's waited a long time to get his chance. So was delighted to see Liam win the English title. It was great to sign TV deals for Linus and Brad, and also Lauren Parker. So 3 of our fighters have got TV deals. Lewis Surrett came it was his lifetime ambition to win the Southern area. Both he and Adrian Martin fought themselves to a standstill in their fight. So it was great to see Lewis Surrett win the title. Not that it wouldn't have been good for Adrian either, but Lewis was, it was such a dream for him to do that.
And defended it in the same year.
And defended it again. So he's had his win and his defence. So both Dalton Miller and Adrian Martin, who were unsuccessful against Lewis, they'll both come again. So no, it was great to see them do well, and that they would be my highlights: the development of Linus and Brad, and also seeing Lauren Parker do her stuff with a stoppage on TV. It was great to see her do it because we've been able to open up doors for her that weren't there before, and she's got a great training team. So the future's exciting for all of those 3. And my aim for 2022 is to develop more of our fighters onto TV platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask what's the most challenging thing of the year, but I think it's probably fairly obvious, really, in terms of trying to bring it back amongst various board restrictions that we've covered on here throughout the last 12 months. Hopefully they're easing up.
The thing I was saying, Mike, though, if we go back, I predicted September pretty much as being the comeback time. So what was good for us was that the prediction I made even a year before was September would be the earliest. So we were able to inform our boxers to be ready for that September. So that was the good thing, that we got the timing right, not like others who tried to go in July and had to cancel shows because they got it wrong. I mean, we got the timing absolutely bang on right. Unfortunately, with the board putting the restrictions on York Hall, it wasn't financially great to start with. But we just ploughed through it. We didn't cancel a show. We pushed forward. But we had to accept that a lot of the shows were fighters coming back after layoffs, and the shows were not of the as good a quality as we would expect normally pre-COVID, although we're going to see them that change in March time. And so, no, I think it's been a bit challenging, but we've got all our fighters' dates for March, April, and wherever they're going to fight. Every fighter knows what's going on. So all of our fighters are now focused on their next situation. So we're just going to bring them all through to their title contentions as and when, in a particular stages, which I know we're going to cover later on as we go through all of our fighters.
Yes, we're going to go through each of the boxers in the Goodwin Boxing stable and give a brief update on where each of them are and kind of where perhaps they might be in 12 months. Goodwin Boxing as a whole, though, you brought in Alan Budgeon over the last 12 months. Alan, who was kind of on the periphery and doing bits anyway with you.
He promotes in his own right as well, but he's now taken a role within the organisation as well. He's keeping his promotional hat on as well. So he's coming involved, and it basically it's to lessen the workload on me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have to just concentrate on the things that matter. And for me, the things that I have to do in boxing are the meeting with boxers when I have to do the meetings and the planning of their careers. The rest of the stuff, the admin, the medicals, the periphery of it, that needs to go elsewhere, because to keep me fresh and to enable me to do my right job, I have to segment the roles, and that's what we've done now. So it means that I can do the things that matter, really, rather than just have to do everything.
Yeah.
When I say I never did everything because Kevin was there, but it does rest. It all goes down the chain that the workload lessens.
Yeah, and then there are going to be changes to how you're running shows, but we're not going to cover that now. But for people to keep an eye out, kind of in the near future, of an announcement of a series of what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be totally different than other promoters do, and we're working on how it's going to operate. But I think it's quite exciting, and we'll be issuing probably a release on that in the middle of January.
Yeah. Once I've written it.
Yeah, once you've written it.
Excellent. Should we move on to boxers?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that. Why has my camera gone off? It always does this. Oh, there we go. I'm back. We're going to start at the lower weights. We're going to build our way up. I was going to do it the other way around, but I've had a change of heart last minute. I'm working off 2 screens, so bear with me. Right, so I've got a whole list of them here. If you go on to the Goodwin Boxing website, you'll find a categorization now of all the boxers by their weight categories. So, usefully for me, we'll start with super flyweight. We'll start in the female one. I'll do it as they come up on my screen. So, Lauren Parker.
So Lauren obviously came to us. She was previously managed by somebody else and came to us during the lockdown. We signed her. Really like her as a person. She's a lovely girl, and great training team of Paul Webb and Paul Day. And my God, hadn't she improved during lockdown? And she showed that with her stoppage of Ivanka Ivanova. People don't do that to Ivanova, and she actually really, put her down and then just basically knocked her off her feet. It was a brilliant performance. And we're looking to build her through 2022. The realistic aim is at least a Commonwealth title next year. And that's a realistic aim. And I say at least, and then move on from there. She can keep winning. If she can keep winning, and I'm sure she can, there's no reason that we can't be looking at world titles down the line. But she's got to keep winning, but we'll do it step by step. But 2022, minimum requirement is a Commonwealth title in 2022.
Yeah, hugely improved. I actually realised I was at before she was with you, and she lost at Bedford Corn Exchange. I was at that fight. I didn't realise until a while back that it was her. I went to see my friend Conor Wright from Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
She was fighting on the undercard there and actually lost that night. So I've seen her live twice now, from there to where she beat Ivanka Ivanova. Massive improvement, huge improvement, big things to come. Jack Hughes, speaking of people with big improvements.
Well, so Jack improved massively in his last fight with Ray, but he at last gets his Southern Area title shot on the 12th of February against Paul Roberts at York Hall. He's headlining the card on the 12th of March. That's up to Jack now. The things, the doors there, the doors open. If he wins this, we can manoeuvre him quite quickly through to bigger titles. So he's just got to go and win this fight against Paul Roberts. So I'm confident he will. So the 12th of March is his big day, and he deserved it after all the messing around he had before with Ricky Little, which we were not going to cover again. But, great news for Jack. So he's got his title shot at last.
Excellent. So I won't go too far ahead of that with Jack. Let's get that one out of the way in March and see where he moves on. Bantamweight, Liam McHugh.
Now, Liam McHugh trains in Mexico. Don't know if you know this.
Okay. No, and you haven't got a picture on your website either.
Oh no, we're getting the pictures all uploaded. That's going to be something we're doing the early new year.
All right.
And he comes from Liverpool. He's got a humongous family in Liverpool with a massive fan base, but he actually trains in Mexico. So when he fights on the 19th of March, he'll be bringing his trainer over from Mexico for this.
Right.
So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to seeing him. But yeah, he's actually training in Mexico as we speak.
So he's going to bring his trainer from Mexico, his family and fans from Liverpool
to your call.
Cool. Could be some night. I look forward to that. Right, I'll put super bantamweight. My favourite festive boxer, Andre Santa. Yes.
So he turned pro about a year ago. He's took a while to get going, and he's been back to his original homeland, and he's come back again. He's not got the most experience as an amateur, but he is a kid that, in my opinion, has got a lot of potential. But we're going to see more about him as he develops through. He's going to have to be brought through slowly for sure. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him make his debut again. That will be in March.
All right. So we've got a few featherweights. So let's start with Lewis Frimpong, one of the Frimpong twins.
Well, he's 2-0. Really exciting. The Frimpongs are great to watch. Really exciting. Throw lots of punches. And we've got to move them along quite quickly. And I rate Lewis. We just got to build the numbers up. He's got to be moved quickly towards titles. And we hope by the end of 2022, he'll be in a position to fight for a title.
Excellent. Conor Adaway.
Another super talented kid. We've got some good kids in the featherweight division. Conor, again, he's had a couple of fights down in Plymouth. He's in exactly the same position as Lewis. They've had two. He's having his third fight on the 9th of April at York Hall. And then we're going back to Plymouth in July. But Conor's really talented, brother of Chris. And it's just a case with him. Same thing. Get the numbers going, get the wins in, build your titles. So we're doing the same job for Conor as we are for Lewis.
Okay. Marcus Hodgson.
Well, he's undefeated in 5, but he's going to take on Ramez Mahmood in March time. He's going to come and take his chances in the away corner and fight Ramez. So It's a good fight. I think for him, he wants to find out, can he go up another level? Can he not? So he's going to take on Ramez Mahmood.
When's that?
That's going to be, we think it will be it's going to be on the 26th of March.
That's a cracking fight.
It's on that card that I was talking to you about before.
Yeah.
So that's a really good fight, a 6-rounder. So that's already, Mickey Amu took that fight, Ramez's manager. And Marcus, we're going to find out where Marcus is. And also Ramez has got to come back from his loss in an English title fight. So, it's a really good, it's a real cracking 6-rounder, that. Real cracking.
Good on Marcus. Good on Marcus for stepping up and finding out.
Yeah. He said he doesn't want to fight any more journeymen or anything like that anymore.
Yeah. Jacob Etchie.
So he's going to be fighting Luke Fash on the 9th of April. Again, making his debut, got an amateur career. Again, he's one of these lads that I like to see before I comment because, you can see things from amateur pedigrees, but I want to see him fight. But he's got a very good record as an amateur, talented kid. I'm looking forward to seeing him make his debut in April.
Excellent. Right, Sam Little, last for featherweights.
For Sam Little, he was very impressive on his debut. He's from Bristol. He may do his next fight more closer to home rather than come to York Hall. We're going to speak to him about that early January. But he was a very talented amateur. He fought really well on his pro debut, but it was his debut, so he's still got a lot of his amateur stuff within his style. So he's going to develop into a more professional style. But I'm watching his debut. There's no doubt for me he can be winning titles. Very decent kid. Decent kid.
All right, excellent. We're going to move up one. Super featherweight. We'll start with the champion, Liam Dillon.
English Southern Area champion, English champion, undefeated. Liam Dillon. We're at the moment trying to get a big fight for him in March towards the end of March. And I'm going to have a meeting with Liam and his trainer, Steve Kipps, probably in the first week of January. I've got a couple of more things to check, and then we're going to decide which way to play it. But expect to see Liam in a big fight in March or April. We did have a big opportunity for him back in November, but unfortunately he wasn't ready to go again, so we had to pass it up. And it's something he was fight he would have won. But that's unfortunately it sometimes. Sometimes the boxers are not ready to go. Remember, he only fought for the English title in October. So, yeah, we can rebuild him, but he'll get a big... I expect him to get a big opportunity in 2022.
All right. Koffi Donkey.
Talented, but injury-prone. He must have pulled out of 4 or 5 fights now. And, you know, the question is he going to be able to... You know, he's getting older now. And unless he can get consistency and fight and get momentum, he could be one of these fighters where his career gets lost. But again, it's down to him. But at the moment, unfortunately he's had many more pullouts than he's had fights. And you know, and if he can't, you know, get momentum, he's getting older. You've got to have momentum like we're doing with the Frimpongs and Conway away to make it work.
Yeah. Final one in this weight category, Christophe Zoral.
Yeah, he won his he was a decent fighter. He fought for Southend and Cambridge as an amateur. He's trained by Simon Dempsey. He's a good kid. He won on his debut. We're looking forward to a lot more. And he's coming back out again in the next, you know, in March, April time. I think it's 12th of March he's out. But he's a very talented kid, and again, one of the young Goodwin prospects on their way up. We've got a lot of them.
All right, lightweights, where we got a lot of them. So we'll go from quickly. Jake Spring.
Jake Spring's had some time off. He had an injury. His father Gary, who's a great man, unfortunately he's been ill, so he's had to take some time out. But he's been back. He's back in the ring. He had a break of quite a few years. Came back, had a win, and he's again. Similar to Koffi, he's now got to build momentum. He's got to get 4 fights in this year, minimum, because if he doesn't, his career won't be going anywhere. So he's got to get the momentum. I'm sure he will. He's back in March. But when you consider that from 2014, he didn't box again till I think it was 2000, his debut. Then he had a break, came back at 2019, but he now comes back on the 5th of March. So let's hope he can get some momentum.
All right. Jamie Spade says lightweight, could be anywhere from super feather up to welter.
Correct. Look, Jamie is Jamie. Great warrior. He's former Southern Area champion. I think it's 3 weights. Former English title challenger. He's a road warrior on the road. He educates all the young prospects. Great personality. Great guy. He's a brilliant fight for these prospects to take on because they learn so much from him. Credit to the sport of boxing. Can't say any more about him.
Absolutely. Henry Potter.
He's had 2. He's 2 out of 2 now. Had 1 at York Hall, 1 at Norwich. He's now coming back and fighting at York Hall again. Had a really good amateur record. I watched his second fight the other day. He definitely improved massively from fight 1 to fight 2. And I'm looking forward to seeing him progress. He's a lovely kid, but he's also got a lot of talent as well. So lots to look forward to with Henry Potter.
Real. Juliette Hallwood.
Well, she was in one of the fights of the year against Becky Ferguson. It's a cracking fight. Females get moved on quickly. She didn't have a lot of amateur experience, but we're looking to move on again. We're looking for a step up in March. But she's exciting, really exciting to watch. And she's the same as Lauren. I'm going to build her. And if she can keep winning, you know, in 18 months, 2 years' time, we can aim for titles with her.
Final one, Sher Khan.
Another good, talented amateur. Not had his debut with us yet. I don't want to wax lyrical about him until I've seen him, but he's got all the tools and all the amateur pedigree to be a really good pro.
Real. Right, super lightweights. We've got about 50 of these, so let's go through them.
You've got 16 super lightweights. It's our strongest division.
Yeah, right. So let's start. I know that you've got a fight lined up for him. I don't know if you can talk about it. Dennis Danika.
I've got a fight lined up, but I'm waiting for approval, so I can't announce it yet. But it is a cracking fight, and it will take place on the 26th of March, subject to approval. I'm hoping to get approval for it next week or 2. But yeah, we'll announce that probably when we do the next ring tour. But it's a cracking fight. I rate Dennis so highly, and his trainer Dave Sadler's a brilliant coach. so looking forward to him. Hopefully, we can get the fight on.
And for the astute among you, keep a note of these dates, because when we said earlier we can't talk about the series as going ahead, if you work out some of the dates, you might start to work out something. Sajida Bid.
So Sajida Bid takes on Tom Ansel, one of our other fighters, in an English eliminator for the super lightweight crown. And that takes place on the 5th of March at your call. And that will be headlining that show. The first show, in a cracking fight for both of them. It's the right fight for both.
Brilliant fight.
It's the right fight for both. Tom Ansel is a very strong, come-forward fighter. Sajid is more of a boxer, and it's whether the strength of Tom will be too much for the boxing of Sajid. And it's and I think that fight will gel really well because of their styles. I think it's a great fight. Great fight. Great fight.
Yeah, no, agree entirely. My man, Jamani Camero.
Well, Jamani is back training again after he lost to Billy Allington in a 4-round technical decision, which went to the cards. The Allington corner, very smart. They knew he was cut. They knew it was going to go after 4, and they told him to treat it like a 4-round fight, whereas Jamani was still boxing like it was a 10-round fight. That's why he lost, because he was just outworked over 4 rounds. Lost 3 rounds to 1. And in that 4th round, Billy Allington knew what was coming, gave it everything, and won the 4th round. If Jamani could have won that 4th round, he would have got a draw. It was just unfortunate for him, but he will come back, and he's looking to move back into titles again.
Good. Tom Ansel, you mentioned him earlier for Sajid.
Dennis Denikajev. I've managed Tom since the start of his career. Same I have with Dennis and Sajid and Jamani, all of them. I've managed them from day one. And they've all renewed contracts after the end of the first 3 years with us. But it's a cracking fight. It's the right fight for both. The loser is not it's not the end for the loser. They can come back at Southern Area level, but the winner can go on and probably have a crack at the English title.
Yeah, lovely. It's a brilliant. I can't wait for that. Zahari Al-Qatani.
Well, he's 9-0. He's 9-0. He's a very new addition to the Goodwin stable. So he now wants to get in the mix. You see what I'm saying about what a strong division it is for us?
Yeah.
He's 9-0. He wants to get involved in the mix for titles. So we're having a meeting with him in January, and we're going to look for something for him, possibly on the 26th of March. So we're looking for something, a big fight. So we'll have a meeting with him and see what he wants to do. But yeah, we're looking for something for him, definitely.
Are tickets on sale at the moment for all of the March shows?
Yes, they're on sale now. You can get them through.
Go and get them quick, people, because they will go when everything comes out.
One of these shows will sell out in 3 weeks. I maintain it will sell out in 3 weeks. And if
I'm going to StubHub them. I'm going to buy like 30% of them and whack them on StubHub anyway.
They're going to sell. It will sell out.
I won't.
They will sell, no, but they will sell out. There is no doubt they will sell out. So on that show, there's one show in particular will sell out. Boxers will not even be able to get extra tickets for it. It will be that big a sellout.
Yeah.
So Zahar's looking for a big fight as well. So we're going to have a look.
Bro, Id Hill.
Right. So ID, he only signed with us in December. He's one of these fighters now that hasn't boxed for, and he needs a warm up. So we still got some of the fighters that we're developing through the warm-up process. But as you can see from some of the fights we're announcing, once these fighters are having warm-ups now, they're going in. And we're having title fights galore. And that's the important thing.
And ID's ready for him anyway. ID's had big fights in the past anyway, hasn't he? On your shows.
Yeah, he just wants one fight back, and then he'll go in the summer. So he's ready to go again. He's ready to go.
Yeah. James Beaton.
Well, James is another one that's had many injuries. He's getting... Again, I'd put him in the same bracket as I spoke about Jake and Koffi Donkey. If he doesn't get momentum this year, it's not going to happen for him, because he's either got to get consistency and momentum, or it's not the one. It's not going to happen for him. So it's down to him now.
One that I was surprised to see on the list, Darren Townley.
Well, Darren retired.
Yeah,
but
then I was surprised to see him on there.
But then unretired.
Oh, has he?
He wants a farewell fight in Plymouth in July. Okay. And he's going to retire after that. So he's got one more fight in him. He wants one fight in Plymouth to go out and retire there. So he's going to do the last fight.
All right, because his last fight was against Tom Ansel, wasn't it? Up here.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Tom Ansel, stopped by Tom Ansel in a round. It was a fight, by the way, that I did tell Darren not to take. It wasn't the right fight for him after what happened at Plymouth to him. But so we work for the Boxers, and if the Boxers want to do something, we have to do it. But it was the wrong fight for him. It was the right fight for Tom, the wrong fight for Darren. But he wants to sign off with a win in Plymouth in July, so that's why he's still on the roster.
All right, Courtney Frimpong.
But he's 1-0 with one stoppage. He stopped Lee Devine. Great prospect once again. We'll build him up with momentum this year. We've got to move him in. Within 12 months, he's got to be in title contention.
Yeah. Michael Mooney.
Road warrior extraordinaire. He's done 86 fights, I think it is.
Yeah.
He's fighting every week in March, I think it is, in April.
Tough as old boots, isn't he?
Tough man.
Yeah. Conor McIntosh, probably the best photo out of all these.
Yeah, Welsh amateur champion. He's 2-0, fought once in Plymouth, fought second fight in Swindon. Really talented, really skillful, fast hands, big future. Big future.
Big futures, Bailey Donald.
Another one with a big future down in Portsmouth, one of the Darren Wiseman team. I mean, Bailey is without doubt. If he keeps his head on his shoulders, and what I mean by that is once he gets to 5-6-0, you'll get all the whisperers telling him all the shit. If he keeps his head on his shoulders and doesn't listen to the bullshit, he'll go all the way, same as like Linus has and Brad has. He's without doubt a future TV fighter if he doesn't do anything silly and make bad decisions.
Yeah. Another road warrior, Lee Devine.
Lee Devine, he's had 12 now, but only been stopped twice. Tough man, just wants to earn money for himself and his family. And he's out there doing a job that he loves, and our job is to try and keep him as safe as we can.
Good on him. Brandon Webb.
Brandon Webb's a new one. He previously was he was one of these guys that was on all these Mo Pryor shows early that got cancelled. I think he was pulled off 3 shows. And I think Mo would appreciate that he'd done the wrong thing by having these shows too early. But yeah, Brandon did that. He's since come to us, and he makes his debut on the 12th of March. He's trained by Andy Gill, now at the Evolve Elite Gym. And the funny thing was, the only reason that we've got him is he, just by total coincidence, he's dating my wife's best friend from school's daughter. She lives in Essex, right? He lives in somewhere in Hertfordshire, and I bumped into him at a family gathering. And then that's how I met him. But that was just socially. And then I got told that his contract was not. Hey, he hadn't fought for so long, so his contract. And he said to me, "Would you manage me?" And this stands at this stage, I haven't even done any contract with him yet. I'm waiting for him to send it back to me. But I know he will.
Okay.
I only actually agreed to do it last week, so it was. So he's now on. He's boxing on the 12th of March.
Right, Brandon Albrecht.
Sponsored by Fake Taxi, so he's got a bit of sponsorship. Really talented kid, trained in Kent by Billy Rumble. Really talented, brings good support. Nice kid to deal with. Really talented. He's 2-0. We'll be developing him on. Same thing.
When your own logistics to the fight is a porn shoot, then fair play. Emmanuel Zion,
another talented amateur, going to make his debut again. I'll wait and we'll talk about him after he's had his debut. But again, we've got some really, really talented kids making their debut. We've got a really good team we're building here. Good squad. Really good team.
Right, we're moving up again. We're going to welterweight.
Oh, you've missed Pat Gill. You've missed Pat Gill and Tommy Murphy.
I haven't missed anyone. They're not on your website.
They are. They're underneath.
Are they? Oh, shit. I haven't scrolled down. Yeah. All right. Sorry, Pat. Sorry, Tommy.
So Pat Gill,
two of my favourite ones I'd never forget. Pat Gill, Tommy Murphy.
So Pat Gill's trained by his dad, Andy, 1-0. He took on Mwenya Chisanga on his debut, which is a hard debut for anybody. Came through that fight. I'm looking forward. He only had about 15 amateurs, but he's very talented, and I'm looking forward to develop him.
He comes from good stock, doesn't he? If he comes from Andy Gill.
Oh, exactly that. Tommy Murphy's based in West London. Came to me through Barry O'Connell. Again, good amateur career. We'll talk more about him once he's had a fight.
Real. Now we'll move up to welterweight, 147, one of my favourite weights.
We've got 8 welterweights as well. It's a busy.
I know. I'm looking through each of these, thinking, and actually, outside of those that have yet to debut or kind of 1-0, all of them again are at a level where they can be slotted into meaningful, interesting fights. Mm-hmm. So let's go through them. Tyler Marriott,
2-0 again. Really exciting kid, lovely kid, really nice kid with a brilliant attitude, talented, and again 2-0. My history, my track record of management with these types of fighters works really well. I'll develop him through, same as I did for, say, Liam Dillon or Lewis Sweat. We were talking about the recently won titles, Linus, Brad. We brought all of these from the start, and Tyler Marriott will be one of those that we do the same with. He's 2-0 and on the progression, you know. So
there's a pattern and a theme that these lads hopefully will stick with you, where you get them to that 7, 8, 9, and then you wait for the right opportunity to slot them into title fights, didn't you? It's the tried and tested.
And the thing is, the track record of the ones that stick with me, like the Linuses and the Brads, it speaks for itself. The track record of those that don't stick with me, and I'm not going to mention names, but that also shows itself. It's quite apparent. You can draw a list up of who's done what and look who's done the best.
Yep. Konstantin Ersu.
3-0, really good amateur, trained by Marley down in Plymouth. He's a very talented kid. He's outboxing on the 9th of April at York Hall. And I can't say any more than I expect him to be a big star in boxing.
Curtis Felix.
Well, Curtis was supposed to have a Southern Area chance against Liam Goddard. He pulled off because he got COVID. So he's had time away. He's coming back in January. It's a question of how much he wants it. He's had title fight back to back. What does he really have left now? What's his desire? And I don't know that. Only he knows his desire. If his desire's there, he will win titles at welterweight, no doubt. But a lot of fighters, when they've had title fights, it's not gone their way. I mean, no disgrace losing to a Coesman, that's for sure. Yeah. And Sam Gilly, he was beating Sam Gilly until 8 rounds. He ran out of stamina in 9 and 10, and that was probably because he wasn't doing his nutrition right. But if he had won the 9th and 10th round, he would have beaten Sam Gilly. So that's how close that was. And Sam Gilly's now the English champion. So Curtis is at that level. It's just he needs to get his stamina and his the way his nutrition absolutely bang on. It's how much he wants it. If he wants it, he'll be a champion.
Blinded. Jack Newham.
Jack Newham, love Jack. He's had a break from the ring. He's 5-1-1. He's coming back in March. Looking forward to seeing him get back in the ring. He's now, when I had him before, he was a baby. Hopefully he's matured a bit now. And so not baby as a person, but a baby in terms of his physique and man strength. But hopefully now with COVID, he'll have got his real man strength. And he's trained by Ricky Heaven Senior. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Jack back in the ring. He's a great kid, and he's got a lot of talent.
Kane Morgan.
Well, Kane Morgan had a draw on his debut against Josh Crook, and that was a bit of a shock because I was expecting him to beat Josh Crook. He's back in the ring on the 26th of March, but he was one of those kids, in my opinion, who on his debut did not do as well as he should. And it happens to a lot of kids. He'll be a lot better from that fight, and I expect him to put things right and get a win on the 26th of March.
Yeah, you can always pass the debut off, can't you? Especially if their amateur background isn't extensive.
Well, look at Canelo drew with a journeyman on his 5th fight.
Yeah, I mean, he might well be the exception, I think. Canelo will...
But what I'm saying is...
too many comparisons.
I'm not saying that Kane Morgan is Canelo, but what I'm saying is that because you get a draw early on in your career, it doesn't define you. Do you know what I mean? Even a lot.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
It's not the end of the world. Where we at? Dennis Douglas.
Once again, Dennis had his debut win. He's back again in March. Talented amateur, but he's originally from Latvia. He had 31 amateurs. He's 34 now, so he needs to get a jiggle on. But we're going to have to move him forward fast this year, and then hopefully get him a meaningful fight.
Anyone near my age doesn't need to be taking their time in a boxing career. Go on, Dennis. Off you go, mate. Adam Smith, not off Sky, but...
No, so Adam Smith, he had his fights, all his amateur fights in Australia. He's come over to the UK. Again, I've not seen any of his footage of his fights. He won them, I think he won them all in Australia. So we're looking forward to seeing how he gets on. He comes from Sid Cup in Kent. He's trained by Anton Paddington. Looking forward to seeing him, and we'll have a clear idea of where we're going with Adam after his debut.
Brill. And another one out of Wiseman Gym, Liam Wiseman.
Son of. Great amateur, won multiple titles, super talented, TV fighter of the future. I think he's going a long, long way in the sport. Again, he's a young man. Will he keep his head on his shoulders, and will he keep on the right track and not listen to the whisperers and the bullshitters? This is what happens to these young, talented kids. It goes one of two ways for them. They either develop and become stars, or they get caught up with the wrong lot in boxing. So hopefully he won't. And his dad's a smart man, so I think he'll be on the right track. I think his style is going to be exciting. I've seen his amateur fights. He's going to be a breath of fresh air for the heavyweight division, and I expect to see great things from him.
Welterweight. Not heavyweight, unless he's put some weight on since I last seen him, Liam. Right, we're up to super welterweight. So again, I look through these names and I think, crikey, like nearly all of these are actually ready just to chuck into title fights. But we'll start Shoki Khan.
Shoki Khan is another one of these 1-0 in 3 years. Not enough activity, too many withdrawals from fights for various injuries. It's either he gets momentum or it doesn't go for exactly the same as the other fighters I've told. I can't really say any more than that because until a fighter gets momentum, he's 2-0, but until a fighter gets momentum, we can't really raise judgment. But at the moment, he's got to get momentum this year.
Yeah. Just recently in the ring, Ryan Copland.
4-0. Ryan is 4-0. He's on his way. He's on his way now to big fights this year. So looking forward to seeing Ryan do his stuff.
Yeah, good. Lewis Everson.
Lewis Everson, he cut 2-0 from Plymouth. Again, he's coming up to fight in your call on the 9th of April. And we'll get, again, these 2-0, same thing again, developing through.
Yeah, it's that harvest, isn't it? We said about it before, whereby you have those lads that are at title level, and you have all those ones that are just 2-3-0 that you're kind of bringing through, that in 12 to 18 months' time, they'd have pushed those ones up.
Yeah.
Some of those will filter out, and then you end up with the next generation of title fighters.
Exactly.
I love it. It's cyclical. Right, where we at? Amakiani. Amakiani's always in fun fights, exciting fights. He always has 200 people there cheering him on, if not more.
Yeah, he's 4-0. And again, we're developing him. He's a TV fighter on the horizon. We just got to get the right opportunity, but looking to get him out March and April. And hopefully, we'll be going for titles, I would say, next year, without that, end of the year.
Interesting one, Sean Robinson. So Sean, he's done a bit of everything, hasn't he? From kind of Southern area champion to ultimate boxer contender.
Yeah, which doesn't suit him, the 3-round competition. But he came back and I thought he looked really impressive in his comeback fight. We're looking for a big fight for him now, and hopefully we'll be able, if we can get it right, we can announce that second week of January.
New signing, Joshua Povey.
Well, he had his comeback fight, and we're looking forward with Joshua now to moving him on to a big title fight in hopefully March and April. But it's something I'm working on for both of them in the same division, and they're at the same position. And they fought each other before for the Southern Areas, it happens. But both of them, I haven't got fights done for them yet, because I'm working through, the options, and we're going to meet I'm going to meet each of them in the new year. So they're both in the same boat, to be honest.
Yeah, and then Ian Morale.
Liam Conway, basically another road warrior. He's had a couple. He's another one of these road warriors that keep the sport going, and full credit to Ian. And Liam's a great journeyman coach, as well as a normal coach, but he's really good with the journeyman as well.
Flying. Right, we're moving up once again into the middle.
You've missed one, Joshua Gustavi.
I haven't done that again. That's impressive. My scroll. Okay, right. Yeah, sorry, Joshua Gustavi.
So Joshua, again, he's got a very good amateur record. What I would say again is I need to see him box, but he's got all the pedigree to be a super pro.
Oh, I know why. It's because when they haven't got a photo, they merge into the background of the colours almost.
Do they? Oh, okay.
There we go. Anyway, that's my fault. Middleweight. We'll start with the main man, because he's top left, Linus Udofia.
Well, he's mandatory for the British title. Purse bid's gone out for Danny Dignam. We are looking now at that's what we're working towards. He may have a fight before that. Depends on when Dignam's supposed to be fighting Grant Dennis for the WBO European in February. So we'll see how that pans out, whether Dignam stands his ground. But yeah, that's a fight we're confident we win. So we're quite happy with that. And then we're going to move on from there. So hopefully win the British title by the summer and be looking for things, for even bigger things for him. brilliant guy, loyal, had him since day one, lovely person, great human being, fantastic fighter, got the whole package.
What's the purse bid date for that?
12th January.
Okay. I'm playing football against Linus in January.
How are you? Don't hurt him. Don't hurt him.
Do you know he plays for a charity team down in Luton?
Yeah.
So our veterans season doesn't start until the end of January, so we're going to play him in a friendly.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I said, shove me right back. I want to take on Linus. He plays left wing apparently.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, might be the end of his British title bid.
No, we can't be doing that. You be careful.
Bradley Spencer.
Another 5-0, built him up. 6 fights coming up in March or April. You know, we're getting there. We are probably 3 fights away from a title fight. So we're talking end of the year. We're going to move him into title contention.
Is there any chance with Bradley, and I might be miles off, so correct me if I am, is there any chance he could go down to light middle, do you think, in time?
He looks like...
He never looks big enough to me. Like,
yeah, he wanted to be a super middle. Now we're dropping down to middle. Maybe there's a bit more scope to come down. Yeah, he looks like there's potential for that. But I think the lightest he's ever weighed is 11 stone 10. So that puts him 10 pound above the super welter. He might struggle to get down there. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. When I compare him to the other middleweights, he never quite has that same muscular physique about him. And but he is a tall lad as well, though, isn't he, to be fair? Not doing him a disservice. Lewis Syret, Southern Area champion.
Fantastic year, Southern Area champion, beat Adrian Martin, defended against Dalton Miller. He'll now get served a mandatory, which I think will be Aaron Sutton from Bristol, Sanagar fighter. So we've got to make the decision, do we fight Sutton or do we vacate and move on to other things? And that's something we'll discuss in the new year.
Nice. Brad Pauls.
Brad Pauls looking to get him out on a Wasserman show, same show as Linus. Looks like they'll both be on the same show. And we're looking for a real decent fight against a kid with a very good record, which we've spoke to Wassermans about, trying to get it nailed down as we speak. And hopefully they'll be able to announce that in the middle of January.
Any chance of him and Linus, they end up on the Eubank Williams card? Because that's scheduled for January, but Frank Warren said the board aren't likely to allow any boxing.
No, they're not scheduled for that card.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Adrian Martin.
Well, he lost last time to Lewis Syret, and he's now fighting Dalton Miller in an eliminator at the end of on the 26th of March in the 10-round eliminator.
Love that fight.
Yeah.
Love that fight. Mark Bridger.
Had some problems with his medical forms, so his debut's had to be postponed. Hopefully he can get that all sorted and aiming to get him out March or April.
Another Plymouth bomb, Billy Stanbury.
2 out of 2, beat Robbie Chapman in his last fight. Really talented amateur, lots of potential, 2-0. Same as I said for the other 2-0s, we'll develop them, and as long as they keep their heads together, then we'll move them into title contention, in about 18 months' time.
And then Dalton Miller, who we just said is going to be fighting Adrian Martin March 26th.
Yeah, well, his dream was to fight for the Southern Area. He did. He didn't. He came off second best in a good fight, but now he's going to have his big crunch fight with Adrian Martin. And look, if he loses to Adrian Martin, he can then choose to retire or become a journeyman, earn his money that way. If he wins, it puts him back in the title mix.
I missed 2 again because of my colour issue. James McAteer.
Debut kid. He's debuting in March, 26th of March, we think. Maybe change that date, but that's where he is at the moment. Again, what I'd say about a lot of the other ones, I haven't seen too much of an amateur. Good record as an amateur, talented kid. I want to see how he adapts to the pros.
And then the man who I'm pretty sure could go 4 rounds against Canelo, Jordan Granham.
Probably could, actually. He's... what can you say about a man who's probably the best journeyman or one of the best journeymen in the country? He's unbelievable, and he's a lovely human being as well. Great fun to be around, and just a really lovely man and a brilliant fighter. 25 unbeaten as an amateur at one point, and now he's a road warrior. Just shows you what he could have been if he'd wanted to go the other way.
ABA champion, wasn't he, if I remember rightly?
Yeah.
Mad. Moving up, super middle, William Webber.
William Webber
gets favourites to watch.
His big fight takes place now on the 26th of March. It was going to be on the 5th of March, but it's been moved. He's now on the 26th of March against Chris Davis for the vacant Southern Area super middleweight title. And you know, I brought him along perfectly, William. Now this is his day of destiny. Can he now produce? He's now been delivered. Now he's got to produce it.
Cracking fight. Callum Hyde.
Road warrior extraordinaire. Liam Conway again. Can't wait to see him get back on there because he's great test for all the prospects, and he'll be back in March.
Yeah. Connor Hines.
Really talented kid. He's 3-0 with 2 stoppages. COVID's disrupted him, and he was one of those that fell foul in the last batch of fights with not being able to opponent pull out last week. You know, so unfortunately, the same opponent's done it to everybody, all of our fighters. But Connor's now back in March. Looking forward to seeing him back in the ring, and we've got to build him fast.
Paul Brown.
Paul Brown, he's back doing 8 rounds in March the 5th. He's trying to increase the rounds. He's now moving towards a situation where he's got to be moved into Southern Area title contention. So I would hope he does this one and maybe either goes to Southern Area or maybe one more and goes to Southern Area. But he's got to be aiming for Southern Area this year. Tom Barrett. Road Warrior had a couple on the road. You know, one of these guys that we like to look after the Road Warriors as well. And he's had a couple of fights so far, and we're looking forward to him, you know, getting back in the ring and going there and testing the young prospects. Yeah, speaking of which, Robbie Chapman, a man who kind of flits between, you know, he can go from title fight to going out on the road to being in the home corner. He can kind of fit. Robbie's on the journeyman route, looking for fights. As and when, you know, it's difficult for some of these away fighters because they have to weigh in the day before, so it's a work problem for them as well because they lose 2 days' work, and sometimes it's hard for them to do it. So you give him a late call, he can't get off work, so he needs notice for the fight. So he's not been as active as a journeyman because he can't. You know, we need a bit of notice for him. But yeah, Robbie's Robbie, and you know, he's going to plough into 2022 and do his thing. Lovely. Jack Owen. Jack Owen, he's making good progress. His only blemish was a draw with Pucci, and he gets a rematch from Pucci in March to try and address that. But he's improving, and Jack, I'd expect to see fighting for titles in 12 months. Real final one of the super middleweights, Mark Adams. He's 1-1, making a comeback after I think 8 or 9 years out of the ring. He's going on the road. He's fighting Ollie Edwards on the 5th of March at your call. Right, up into light heavyweight, some of the bigger lads. Jordan Warne. Really good amateur. Just hasn't really got it together for fights. He lost in the semi-final of the ABAs to Jake Ball, so he shows you where the talent is. But I'm looking forward to him getting in the ring, and hopefully, you know, we can really see a star in the making. But he's got to get that momentum going now. Star in the making. Speaking of which, Dan Azaxo. Got everything. He's just developing. He's an absolute lovely man. Just a bit crazy at times, but he's building a career, and he wants to build slowly because he had no experience before he turned professional. He's 7-0, and we just got to build him gradually. I'd say 12 months. Within 12 months, we should be in a meaningful fight. If you haven't seen Dan Azaxo, he's like a light heavyweight Alan Babbage. Yeah. He's great fun to watch. Another one I'm surprised is on here, actually. Daryl Church. Making a comeback. Oh, okay. I've seen he's out doing his own kind of unlicensed stuff, isn't he? But he's making a comeback. He's a cruiser. He's fighting Aussie Jervier, I think in April, I think it is. Okay. Coming back at cruiserweight, and then he's going to drop to light heavy. Wants a big fight at light heavyweight, so we'll deliver that for him. Fair enough. Dylan Courtney. Another Plymouth lad, 2-1. He started off as a journeyman, then became a home fighter. He's had 2 now. He's really talented, actually, Dylan. He could, you know, I'm not sure if he's going to be a bit like Robbie Chapman, a bit of a flitterer between the two. But, you know, no, but I think he's going to be very, very talented, very talented. Timon Duglin. Debut kid, light heavyweight, good amateur record. Again, I will see more about him when we get in the ring. And final of the light heavyweights, Reece Fosher. He didn't have mountains of amateur experience, trained by Mark Murray Osborne in Kent. He's had a lot of stop and starts. He's got to get momentum because again, another one, if he doesn't get some momentum together, his career could end up sort of not going in the right direction. Cool. Right. We're moving up to cruiserweight now. My voice is going. My COVID's going to have passed by the time I get through your cruiserweight. Who we got? Let's start with the bowling boy, Mark Little. Well, Mark Little is now fighting Daniel Mendez on the 26th of March for the vacant Southern Area cruiserweight title. So I love that fight. I presume you're going to be there on the 26th of March, mate.
book it out now. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing, but I love that fight. That's so good.
Yeah. And Mark's been looking for a big shot for a long time, and he's now got his title fight against Daniel, who's a previous champion, but he's in the Who Needs Him club because he's an awkward southpaw. So for Daniel, if he wins the Southern Area, it puts him right in the mix for a big fight. And for Mark, he wants a Southern Area fight. Daniel's the man that's there, so he'll fight whoever's there. So that's it. It's a great fight. Great fight.
Yes, you will see me 26th of March. I shall be there. I know you like him a lot, Jamie Smith.
He's great. I think he's I'd put him in with Ellis Storrow now, who's 9-0. He can fight him tomorrow. I'd put him in with what do you call who's the Sky kid that Ali's got? The good cruiserweight.
Oh God. The one who was on that's gonna annoy me. I know you mean.
I put him in with, I'm not saying he'd be favourite, but I'd put him in with him now. Like Jamie Smith he's ranked 11 in the country. He'd beat a lot of these kids. He's really, really good. And he'll come for the Southern Area this year.
Yeah, down at Stonebridge, but I can't remember what his name is.
Mikel Lawal.
Mikel Lawal, that's him.
No, I'm not disrespecting Mikel Lawal, and I'm not. But I would put Jamie Smith in with him tomorrow.
Aussie Jervier. So Aussie's one of those mad ones. I suppose he's a bit of a Robbie Chapman type, isn't he, really? That he's not a journeyman in a sense of he'll turn up and give you a walk around and let you learn the ropes. Aussie will turn up and try and take your head off.
Yeah, and he's 40 years of age now and he's still doing it, and he's doing a great job. He just fought Chag Sugden, who fought for the British title and took him all the way on points in his last fight. So Aussie's just out there earning money for his young family and just making some money out of the sport. So good luck to him.
A real soft spot for Aussie Jervier. Yeah. Real soft spot for him. Daniel Mendes just mentioned fighting.
Covered that. Won the Southern Area, lost it when he underperformed against Nick Parper. Had his warm-ups now, and back at new trainer with Brian G. Back in the mix. Great fight with Mark Little to come.
Ross McGuigan,
35-year-old cruiserweight, really strange. Turned pro very late, but he's really good, really talented. He dropped Phil Williams in the first round on way to winning on points. He's back in the ring in March, and Ross has really got him moved on quickly. But Ross, we're looking for a big fight this year for him.
Good. Again, Ross, if you're near my age, mate, you do not need to be going slowly. Get a move on. Get a move on. I want to see it. Not with me, but like real people. Jake Caswell.
Jake's 1-0. We're taking time with him. He's a little bit younger. Terry Coulter's got him. He was a brilliant trainer. Had Wally Camacho and was instrumental in his resurgence. Jake, I've got massive hopes for, but he's got to be brought along at the right pace and a little bit slowly. So, but honestly, he's a really talented kid, really talented. But so Jamie Smith had a bigger amateur career and he's more ready to go. So that's the only difference. He's ready to be moved at a quicker pace than Jake. But part of the skill of a manager is knowing at what pace to bring the fighters along at.
Excellent. Right up to the big boys, heavyweights. We'll start with Road Warrior again, Phil Williams.
One of the nicest guys to look after in boxing. Great man. He's a friend of mine. And it's been a pleasure looking after him. And, fortunately, we've been able to help him and his family have a better life. And he goes in there and gives his all. Got total respect for Phil Williams.
Real. And the final one out of all the categories, Harry Armstrong.
Harry Armstrong, trained by John Charles in Finchley's, had 2 fights. He's going to be boxing on a Tony Peel show next because Tony Peel is running promotions and he works in the Don Charles gym. So it's great for Tony to help out because, we struggle to get all of our fighters on all of the shows. So Harry is happy to go on Tony's show and that works out well for us. So Harry's got a bit of development to go, but he's got plenty of ability there and we'll see how things pan out for him. But yeah, he's got ability.
Cool. Right, that's all of them. We've gone through the Goodwin Boxing stable.
And there's about another 3 we're signing next week, Martin, so it's going to expand.
Oh, I'm not redoing this. We're just going to have to add them on. They're addendums at that point.
That's brilliant. So that's really it, isn't it? That's what we wanted to run through. Everybody now knows about all our stable. That's really what we wanted to do today.
That's brilliant. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. There's that crop that are at the top. Then there's the ones that are kind of that Southern Area level that, either are holding titles or ready to fight for Southern Area. Then that exciting lot that are 2 and 3. I love watching them all develop through their stages. And as I say earlier, some of them will drop out, some of them will move on, some of them will stay where they are. But I love seeing that progression and that cycle of where they go.
And that's why I'm excited about the next year. I'm excited about the new year. We've got fighters at every different category. I'm really excited about 2022. Really excited.
Yeah, so people get your tickets in now, early for March, because March, and one date in particular, is looking particularly stacked. But there's some brilliant fights in there, some of which we've mentioned, some of which are still to come.
Yeah, brilliant.
Excellent stuff. Right, that's 2022, our preview and our review of 21 done.